People said he had everything: money, power, luxury, but no one dared tell him he had lost his humanity. Ethan Marlowe, son of one of the wealthiest businessmen in the city, thought he was untouchable. That belief shattered one rainy night when his speeding car hit a pregnant woman crossing the road. He thought it was just another accident, something money could fix. But when he found out who her husband was and what the man chose to do instead of taking revenge, Ethan's life changed forever. The rain poured down in silver sheets, blurring the city lights into streaks of gold and red. Ethan Marlowe gripped the steering wheel of his brand new Aston Martin, his anger boiling over. His father had just rejected another one of his business proposals, calling him reckless and unprepared. Ethan's pride couldn't take it. He wanted to prove he was more than a spoiled heir living off his father's empire. So, he sped through the empty streets, ignoring the flashing red lights that reflected on his windshield. At the same moment, a woman named Sarah Bennett was walking home from her late shift at the cafe, holding her umbrella and cradling her growing belly. Her husband, James, was a soldier stationed abroad. They didn't have much, but they had love and hope. She was 6 months pregnant, dreaming of the day James would come home to meet their child. Then came the screech of tires, the blinding headlights, and the sound that would haunt Ethan forever. Ethan slammed the brakes, heart pounding. Sarah's body was thrown onto the wet pavement, motionless. Panic clawed at his chest as he stumbled out into the rain. Her umbrella rolled away, her bag scattered across the road. For the first time in his life, Ethan felt fear, real fear. He called an ambulance with trembling hands, stuttering his name, his voice shaking as he said the words, "I hit a woman, she's pregnant." At the hospital, doctors rushed to save Sarah and her baby. Ethan sat in the hallway, drenched and shaking. His mind screamed for escape, but something inside him told him to stay. Hours passed before a doctor emerged, face grave. "She's alive," the doctor said slowly. "But she's in critical condition. The baby, we're not sure yet." Ethan swallowed hard, his throat tight. He wanted to believe he could pay for her recovery, that his father's money would fix this like it fixed everything else. But the guilt in his chest said otherwise. For the first time, Ethan realized money couldn't buy forgiveness, especially his own. The next morning, reporters swarmed outside the hospital. Ethan's name leaked online, and the world was furious. Millionaire's son hits pregnant woman in drunk driving accident. It was everywhere: his shame, his arrogance, his crime. His father, Charles Marlowe, stormed into the hospital, furious and cold. "We'll handle this," he said. "You'll apologize, pay whatever they demand, and this will disappear." But Ethan couldn't speak. He couldn't stop thinking about the woman's face, pale and still in the rain. Her blood on his hands. He couldn't erase it. When he asked to see her, the doctor shook his head. "Her husband's arriving from overseas tonight. I'd advise you not to be here when he comes. He's a soldier." That night, Ethan sat in his car, guilt consuming him. For once, he didn't feel like the powerful son of a millionaire. He felt like a boy who had destroyed someone's world and didn't know how to live with it. James Bennett arrived the next morning, eyes red from the long flight. He went straight to Sarah's room and held her hand, whispering prayers through his tears. She was weak but breathing. The doctors had managed to save both her and the baby, though barely. When he stepped outside the room, he found Ethan waiting, pale and trembling. Ethan had ignored his father's orders and stayed. "Mr. Bennett," he began, his voice cracking. I'm the one who hit your wife." James looked at him, silent and unreadable. His uniform still bore the dust of battlefields, but his eyes held a calm that unsettled Ethan more than anger ever could. "I know," James said softly. "They told me." Ethan waited for the punch, the shouting, the revenge he deserved. But James didn't move. He simply asked, "Do you understand what you've done?" Ethan's voice broke. "Yes. I ruined everything. I'll pay for all her treatment, for your family, for anything." "I don't want your money," James interrupted quietly. "You've already taken enough." The words struck harder than any blow. Ethan lowered his head, tears mixing with guilt. "Then what do you want from me?" James looked at him for a long time before replying, "Change. That's all. You can't undo what you did, but you can decide who you'll be after this." The simplicity of those words crushed Ethan's pride completely. For the first time, he wanted to be someone better, not for his father's approval, but for the woman he hurt and the man who chose forgiveness instead of vengeance. In the weeks that followed, Ethan visited Sarah's hospital room every day. He brought flowers, read to her when she woke, and listened when she talked about her dreams of raising her child. He began volunteering at the hospital, helping other victims of reckless driving, cleaning floors, learning humility the hard way. He sold his sports cars, donated the money to road safety programs, and publicly took responsibility for what he'd done. His father was furious, warning him he was ruining the family name. But for once, Ethan didn't care about the Marlowe name, he cared about doing what was right. Months later, Sarah gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Ethan waited outside the room, unsure if he should go in, until James stepped out holding the baby. He looked at Ethan, then smiled faintly. "His name is Hope," he said. "Because that's what you gave us, not through money, but through change." Ethan's throat tightened. He realized then that forgiveness was more powerful than any punishment. It could break chains, heal hearts, and give life a second chance. Years later, Ethan became an advocate for safe driving and humility among privileged youth. He worked tirelessly to help others who had made mistakes find redemption. The arrogance that once blinded him was gone, replaced by gratitude and compassion. He never forgot the night of the rain, the woman he nearly destroyed, or the man who taught him what true strength looked like, the strength to forgive. And so, the arrogant millionaire's son learned that the most valuable thing in the world isn't wealth, but the courage to change and the grace to be forgiven.